This proves there is an agenda against the Indiana Fever. There's an attack.
Caitlin Clark wouldn't play until right before. This is a preseason game where Clark is not available, and yet you
want to body slam me? Fine.
And that's Kiki Arifin, and I got to tell you, here we go with the smiling like you've done. I don't get it. This is the worst part of the WNBA.
You felt you could outplay the Indiana Fever since Caitlin Clark wasn't playing? One group tried and delivered a violent, clearly unacceptable body smash. But instead of fleeing, the Fever ignited a fire. Sophie Cunningham led with an unmatched energy and commitment. This was not only a preseason game, it was a message. The Indiana Fever came out with a renewed sense of toughness, solidarity, and a will to fight for every inch. Put aside your assumptions about this team. They are not about a single star. They are a squad with pride, courage, and something to prove.
They're attacking Sophie Cunningham just like they did Caitlin last year. There is an agenda against the basketball team, and I'm calling it out right now. The league better step in immediately. They better step in immediately. We better not be dealing with.
The drama began before the first whistle sounded. Caitlin Clark, the lifeblood of the Fever, was eliminated. For the first time in over 5 years, Clark had to miss both her historic college career and her WNBA rookie season. Coach Stephanie White made the choice after seeing that Clark's left leg was a little tight. "We're thinking long-term," she said, which is a smart tactic to protect the team's most important asset before to a strenuous, high-stakes season. Even if it made sense for the future, it exposed the Fever in the here and now. When Indiana played the Washington Mystics, they were without their most explosive scorer and emotional spark plug. As the attention shifted, one question echoed across the throng.
We got to make sure that we're not putting Caitlin at risk for injury. We're not putting our team in a position, where we're thinking short term and not long term. It's a long season, 4 more games than last season. So we want to make sure that we're extra cautious and put her health and wellness first and foremost. And honestly, it's been one day at a time. How she's reacted to treatment, how she's reacted to workouts.
At first, it seemed like no one knew the answer. The Fever struggled and suffered a crushing defeat without Caitlin Clark leading them. Their offensive was in shambles, with errant passes, missed layups, and slow, uncertain movement like walking in quicksand. When the Mystics saw blood in the water, they turned up the heat. They set the tone early with their ruthless physical assault and shoved Indiana about. The scoreboard was speaking the truth, with the Fever behind 24-13 at the end of the first quarter. And things just got worse. The gap grew to 15, and a nervous silence crept in. Fans began to wonder whether a humiliating blowout was already in the cards for this match.
We were down 15. Stephanie White called the timeout, and she must have stuck her foot up her team's ass and said, you see this arena? You see all these fans that came to watch you guys? 12,461 people. They didn't come to watch you guys bullshit. They didn't come to watch you guys drag ass. Let's play.
Just when it seemed like the Fever were fading quickly, a spark erupted from the most unexpected place. Lexi Hull stepped off the bench and lit a fire. In addition to taking minutes, she came to fight, disrupt, and alter the path. In order to put the Mystics off balance, she was relentless in her defense, forcing mistakes, diving for loose balls, and picking pockets. Her hustle was contagious, also on offense. With fearless confidence, she attacked, slicing between opponents, blocking shots, and giving Indiana the much-needed lift. According to Kelsey Mitchell, the best way to describe it was that Hull did the dirty work. The kind of laborious, unglamorous effort that transforms momentum and awakens a team. She made the Fever fight rather than surrender. The heart of Hull was what kept Indiana alive. The return didn't seem so unlikely all of a sudden.
And Lexi Hull, these two players, Sophie Cunningham gave us 21, Lexi Hull gave us 13. The Blonde Bombers is what they're calling them. We were down 15 in the first half. Why were we down?
But then things started to go south. The strong play of the Mystics not only pushed but also shattered limits. What started out as fierce competition abruptly turned into a hostile relationship. Kiki Arifin, a rookie for Washington, crossed the line as players scrambled for position with 5 minutes left in the first half. She threw Sophie Cunningham to the ground and fouled her in a manner more akin to wrestling than basketball. Everyone in the stadium was silent. Then there was a gasp from everyone. Cunningham sprang from the floor and came running towards Iriafin, her eyes full of desire. "You don't do that!" she screamed, and held her ground. Officials rushed in, the play was reviewed, and tensions rose. The result? An outrageous one-foul penalty that looked too little for such reckless, dangerous action.
Celebrating that. Okay. I mean, it's crazy. Here we go again. Here we go again. She's yelling while Kiki's laughing in her face.
If the Fever thought Sophie Cunningham had only been singled out once, they were mistaken. The strikes persisted. Later on in the game, the violence escalated. This time, veteran Brittany Sykes gave Cunningham a flagrant push that sent him crashing to the ground. But something had changed. This Indiana team was not the same as the one from the season before. They were no longer afraid or submissive. Before Cunningham could even rise, Dawana Bonner was there, directly in Sykes' face, furious, courageous, and unapologetically defending her colleague. The Fever's bench blew apart. The players stood with their fists clenched and their voices raised. "You didn't come for one of us, you came for all of us." That connecting thread? It was no exception. And it was becoming larger. It was fire.
She just is, she's a competitor. She's versatile, so she allows us to do different things. Like, she plays with such a toughness. She's huge, and she's going to be for us all season long. But what she brings from an energy standpoint, she raises the level of play of everybody around her as soon as she steps foot on the floor. Hell, even on the sideline. I mean, her communication.
How did Sophie Cunningham respond to being shoved and smashed onto the ground? She went out, regardless matter whether she flinched or protested. She turned her annoyance into petrol. You could see the rage in her eyes. Shock turned into laser-like focus. Then, she put the Washington Mystics through hell. She was able to absorb contact and finish strong because to her aggressive rim strategy. She performed mid-range jumps with assurance. When opponents dared her to shoot from a distance, she also made them pay. Hard. Washington kept trying to knock her off her feet. Instead, they ignited an out-of-control inferno. Sophie made 7 of 8 free throws, which were almost flawless at the line, and shot 6 of 11 from the field to score a game-high 21 points. But she wasn't just scoring, she was battling. She pulled down 8 rebounds, fighting for every board as if it were her own. After the game, Coach Stephanie White smiled and said, "Oh my God. The greatest praise in basketball is that she is brave, powerful, and never gives up." Her explosion, together with the team's enhanced energy, gave the Fever the boost they needed to begin catching up. The previously unachievable 15-point deficit, it started to shrink. It was Hull who kept the bustle going. The ship was steadied by Bonner. Everybody moved ahead.
Heel here, runs down the court, finds Sophie Cunningham, who pumps up the
Drawn on the drive. High arcing pass, it was too high. Hull pulls down the rebound. Here's Cunningham again. Cunningham coast to coast.
First half for Sophie Cunningham.
And this is as we've clawed back.
The defense was set in stone. The passes improved in accuracy. The tension skyrocketed. In the first quarter, the Fever team seemed disorganized, but now they were playing with conviction, precision, and purpose. They battled their way back, resisting breaking point by point. After what seemed to be a blowout, there was a battle in overtime. The player they were attempting to frighten was the cause of the fire, and the Mystics, who probably thought they had already vanquished Indiana, were thrust into a battle. Sophie Cunningham was not only there, she was unbeatable. In overtime, with ice in her veins, she made clutch basket after clutch basket and hit free throws to seal an amazing, improbable victory. But the most instructive example? It came after the buzzer. As the crowd yelled and Indiana celebrated, the Washington men, the same guys who made the body slam and the cheap shots, left the court. No trembling hands. No congratulations. Just silence. The whole distance to the changing room. Was it irritation? Are you embarrassed? Maybe both. They had tried to scare a team without its greatest player, but they saw something far more deadly develop instead. A passionate group. A bunch of flames. A organization that protects itself. Under the leadership of a defiant Dawana Bonner and a fearless Sophie Cunningham, the Fever, backed by 12,000 loud supporters, showed that they were sick of being bullied. This was not just a preseason win. A radical shift occurred with the formation of a new identity, one founded on perseverance, unity, and unwavering defense. Furthermore, Coach Stephanie White said with pride,
3 rebounds, 1 steal in 11 minutes off the bench in the first half. Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hall played a majority of this game for the Indiana Fever. And they played together a majority of the time they were in this game. Sophie Cunningham showed exactly why we brought her in here. We won that trade hands down. Hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
that bunch, that roar, that makes him the Fever's 6th player. What might have been just another preseason game may turn out to be the pivotal moment in history. This was not about Caitlin Clark sitting out. Rather, it was about the Indiana Fever making a statement. We saw a team comprised of more than one superstar. The squad persisted in the face of flames because to the steadfast determination of veterans like Sophie Cunningham and Dawana Bonner. Motivated by Lexi Hull's relentless work ethic, toughened by adversity, united in their cause, and ready for battle. Instead of only surviving the attacks, they replied to them. Blow for blow, another bucket for another. Got the message, and gave it back with a bang. You can no longer scare us as a team. Sophie Cunningham, instead of just putting up with the agony, she lit the Mystics on fire. That mindset, that rage, that unbreakability, that's been missing from this team. If you felt that intensity too, leave a Sophie mentality comment to inform the league that Indiana now has dogs. Imagine what would happen if you were to combine Caitlin Clark's determination, drive, and other qualities. The other players in the WNBA had the greatest ears. Because the Indiana Fever are no longer just hopeful. They are there. They are fearless. Furthermore, they haven't even begun yet.